If you don't know me, my name's Devorah Medwin, and I'm the founder of Collaboration Labs. Thank you, Corinne, so much for hosting us here at Pathways. We're a laboratory for creativity and discovery and interdisciplinary collaboration, particularly around large life issues like life and death. And we're looking for ways to enter into and begin to discuss the places where we get the most uncomfortable, where we feel vulnerable or just too freaked out to go there. So we do this not only to help navigate the most difficult challenges ahead, but also because it helps us enrich the life that we're living right now. And as a lot of you know, I've spent a good deal of time as a patient myself, as well as a family caregiver and a healing practitioner. And over time, I began to wonder, what would happen if we, instead of everyone remaining siloed, where we had the doctors over there and the artists over here and the patients over there, what would happen if we all came together to play, but with a purpose? So for tonight's work in progress, we started with a straight stage play about a woman and her 3 daughters confronting issues of aging and memory, loss, and death. We then added the element of audience discussion after the play, not only about the play, but about how we felt about our own experiences in relation to our aging and mortality. And tonight, we're going to add a third element, a highly skilled death educator, Barbara Coombs-Lee. We're going to add her into the conversation to have a session with the actors who remain in character, but will improvise off the script. So we have this kind of mixed reality experience happening. And then finally, as we continue to evolve, we invite you to join us in the process. Now, for anyone who felt like, I don't want to be involved, don't worry, your cameras are not on. You don't need to participate any more than just showing up in the way that you did. This is what we call a sliding scale of interaction, right? So just having you with us already is a terrific added element in our progression. And if you want to share, if you have questions or want to participate in the conversation with the characters or with the practitioner, you're most welcome. So when we get to that part of the event, you'll be able to raise your hand, and I'll remind you how to do it. It's the little raise hand icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So, and then I'll call on you, or you can write your question in the chat and we'll read those out loud. So of course, we're in Zoom and all the technology that Zoom brings, which is wonderful. What a gift that we're all able to be together in this way from all over the country and some places outside of the country. But there's also tech issues, and that might happen. So if there are glitches, we'll work through them. And if you have any tech glitches, we'll help guide you through them. So for now, just everyone is muted, and let's begin.
Someday my prince will come. Someday we'll meet again. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
My God, not this again. Mom.
What?
What
Stop.
What are you
Stop
doing?
it.
Mom, we're all here on Zoom together.
Yeah, she's with us, Eve. Her camera's on. Jeez. That was beautiful, Mom.
You know, your father is a wonderful dancer.
Was a good dancer, Mom.
We were off the coast, Greenland, Baffin's Bay. We were on a ship off the coast on Baffin's Bay.
Are you talking about you and Daddy?
He can never get his tie straight.
Which coast was that, Mom? Which coast?
Mom, so you were in Greenland, you and Dad.
I was remembering a trip I took with your father to Greenland.
This reminds you of Greenland.
Color of the sky, same time of day. Eventually, honestly, Eve, everything reminds you of something.
I like that. It's like deja vu on acid.
Joni.
What?
I know what acid is, Eve.
No, you don't, Mom.
Well, I can't pick up the phone or cook dinner without a flood of memories coming back. You know, a pork chop? One lousy pork chop. gonna put me over the edge.
I used to cook. I used to cook pork chops.
Yeah, yeah, Mom, and they were very good.
Where did this go? Mom, what is wrong with her? Mom!
I found my
What are
nail
those?
scissors. My nail scissors, I found them.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Mom, you were telling us about Greenland.
What?
Greenland.
Callie, where are your kids?
Movies.
Alone? Callie, I don't think that's a good idea. At this time of night, shouldn't you call their cell phones?
16, Mom. They're fine. They're in a pod. I'm not worried. I wasn't worried.
Well, I don't know.
Finish the story about Greenland. The ship.
You don't need to remind me. My scissors, I was gonna make some tea. Oh, the ship. When there was a problem, there would be this big whistle and then a voice would come on, return to the ship.
Pirates?
No, polar bears.
Oh,
Really?
Yes. There were 2 magnificent polar bears that had been spotted near our group. Do you know they attack?
Attack!
You see Daddy running?
Oh my gosh, are polar bears with spears? What is this?
I'm going to go get some tea,
I'm
girls.
sorry. Mom.
That's okay.
No, come, Mom.
okay. The kids laugh at me all the time.
We weren't laughing at her.
Mom.
Joni, go bring her back.
Well, can't you see I'm not at home. I'm at a friend's.
We'll call her.
Mom! You call her. I live with her.
All right. Well, look at that thing at least, that article, that Alzheimer's article while she's making tea.
Okay, she's making me crazy.
I shouldn't have pushed.
It says here, the victim can become easily agitated.
Oh, could you please stop saying victim? I can't stand that word. She's not a victim.
Eve, why couldn't you just let her finish her story?
Because I don't think it helps to feed into her delusions.
Did you say polar bears? She didn't see polar bears on that trip.
Listen, I just read it was better. You just let them talk.
Them? When did she become a them? Guys, there is no diagnosis, okay? But she can't go around thinking Daddy's still alive or that this is Greenland. You have to correct her. Joni, that's why it's getting worse.
Oh, so now it's my fault? You have no idea, okay? You're not the one who comes home to pots boiling over the tea kettle screaming. No, you don't wake up in the middle of the night to find her standing in the middle of the house clueless as to where she is, or sometimes even who I am. Like, sometimes even when I put her back to bed, she's annoyed at me for waking her up. Like, tell me how I fix that, Eve.
Shit.
How do I change that?
You didn't say it gotten this bad.
Well, it has.
Mom,
Okay,
correct.
wait, and it hasn't. Okay, I mean, I don't know. Most of the time, she's fine. Okay, you'll see. Okay, there's no trigger. She just, I don't know. Maybe there is. She just fades out, and then she's fine, or mad. Like she's getting mad a lot. You'll see.
Well, frankly, I haven't noticed.
Well, I tried to book an appointment, but your thing was filled.
All right, it's great that you're with her, Joan. It's really hard.
I can only imagine. What is that? Is she on the phone? Mom! Oh my God, she's on the phone.
No, she's on the radio. I mean, the radio's on. Sometimes she talks to the radio.
Is this what you're talking about? I mean, did she really forget we're here?
Stop it. She does not just forget we're here.
Okay, not forget, just not remember.
Okay. Once all the divorce papers are signed, I'm going to be up more. Okay? You know Frank's not going to let me take the kids out of the state without his permission. But we're going to work something out, Joan. Give you a break.
Not forget, just not remember. That is, I I have to remember that, Joni. It's classic. What do you think a judge would say if I ever said that in court?
Well, from what I've read, it's just going to get worse.
Well, it doesn't have to. Hello, why are we? Let's try to remember there's no diagnosis here. Why don't we at least wait until the lady mom said from the therapy place is, I mean, mom probably needs some vitamins or a good, like ginkgo biloba, or that Prevagen stuff for memory. In fact, I get those ginkgo bilobas at the gym, Joni. When you're with mom in the morning, get her some kind of a, what's wrong?
What's up? What's
Oh my
up?
God. You're pregnant.
Really? That's the first thing you think?
She's worse. Is she worse? Did the doctor say something? Joni, sweetheart, what is it? What did the doctor say? What's up?
Okay, I have to move out.
Oh, please.
Okay, I'm moving out. It's time. I have to.
It's time? Time for what? Joni, after what you just said, she obviously can't live alone.
You know it's not Joni's responsibility.
Thank you, Cal.
This is just a really bad time.
Oh, right. Well, like she'd ever live with me.
Yeah, like you've ever offered.
She hates me.
Eve,
It's true. Joni, tell her it's true.
don't be ridiculous. Joni!
I'm sorry.
It's not true. It's not true.
Okay, no,
Come
because
on.
I told her to say that.
Come on, I'm moving out.
That is so selfish. Well, she can't stay with me.
No, she can't stay with me. Not right now. Oh, Jesus Christ, not right now.
How unhappy are you?
What, like on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd be a 10.
I have to beat you at my unhappiness level?
Yes. How unhappy would you be? Because I would be miserable, but beyond miserable. I couldn't work. I couldn't sleep. In fact, you remember that cat?
Oh, come on.
No. Yes, Jesus Christ. We remember that cat.
Yes.
Shush. All right, Joni. Look, explain to me why you need to move out. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't. I just want to know why.
Yeah, and it better be good.
I met someone.
Oh, please.
Serious?
That doesn't count.
It's very serious.
Yes, it does count. A lot. You better come up with a better reason for that unhappiness of yours, because that's what doesn't count. Oh, God, can we just finish this Alzheimer's test, please? I just want to know exactly what we're dealing with here. Pick it up. Pick it up.
I got it.
Maybe we should wait until she comes back. I mean, I don't want her to hear us and think that we're talking about her.
We are talking about her.
Well, can we just make sure that we stop talking when we hear her? I don't want her to find out like this.
Could she be just pretending to talk to someone else so she can listen to us?
Only you would do something like that.
It's true. You would.
It is true. All right, forget it. Question 3. Do you fail to recognize friends?
Yes.
So do I. Half point. Do you fail to remember their names?
All the time.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, what are you guys doing? This is about mom.
Well, it says you. It should say they.
All right, well, she'd cover it.
You down half a point. Gets lost walking.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Okay, gets lost driving.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Coming back from Aunt Betty's. I mean, how many times has she made that trip?
Oof. Now we have to take her keys away. This really calls for a cigarette. I mean, really? Did she forget that we're here?
Well, Zoom is new.
Gets lost in her own home.
Well, I told you about the wanderings, and they say that you could camouflage the door with paint or wallpaper to match the surrounding wall.
My God, that's horrible. You cannot be serious. You have power of attorney, right?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Vital issues, ladies.
It's a very touchy subject.
I need to be in charge of everything.
She's not bad. Okay, there's just something. It's she's just, I don't know. She just gets vague or dizzy in a way that she never did before. She forgets to pay the bills.
Wait, that is on here. What else?
I don't know. I feel like I'm tattling on her.
We need to know, Joni.
Okay, well, she'll just stand like she's somewhere else. But then, and then like she'll say something for like the 20th time as if it was the first. It's the right thing, but it's just like, I know already.
Hasn't she always done that?
All right, you know what? I'm ready to smoke. Who's ready?
No, pinky swear we quit.
No, pinky swear, maybe later.
Later, when?
No, guys, no later. We quit. Okay, and it's
okay.
different.
Okay. Pinky swear. Look, we just need to talk to her. Joni, call her. Just be very clear about it. Just honest, like she likes. Mom, something is happening and we need to talk. Let's just finish this test. We just need a good metaphor. Mom, you're like a tree. And as a tree ages, the branches are falling into a song. I can't fight these things. There's not enough laughing or smoking on this call. All right?
Well, this is life, right? I mean, that's how Mom always talked about it. I think she understands far better than we ever could. I think even in the not knowing, she knows. I mean, I guess we won't really know until it happens to us.
It ain't happening to me, I can tell you that much. I eat cranberries and blueberries and some other berry from South America that I can't pronounce. How many South Americans have you seen with Alzheimer's?
Well, how many South Americans have you seen ever?
Fair point. But how many times have you thought you were in love and that this was the one?
Hey, wow, come on. You know what? I don't have to defend my choices to you. Okay, I have lived with Mom. I have taken care of Mom. I have hung out with Mom for 4 years.
That's because you wanted to.
Yes, of course I wanted to. And it's breaking my heart to have to leave. But I'm done. I'm ready to go on and do something else. Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. And what's not fair is that I have to sit in your court and prove myself.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't asked you to defend yourself. I'm not in court. That's totally on you.
Eve, what is it that you want to say? Hey, did you get your hair cut?
Yeah. Oh, I did. Do you hate it?
It looks great.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, now I give you point A and point B.
Good try, Cal. Valiant effort.
Yeah, that's fine if you don't want to hear what I have to say.
You're killing me. Do you get that?
Oh, Joni, just let her talk, please. Just let her talk. Please.
Fine, because I've done my time.
Good girl.
Done my time? Wow.
Eve.
Okay, point A. Well, I won't say she hates me, Joni. It is perfectly clear that there are other people, a lot of other people who.
I think it's whom.
Whom?
Whom?
Are you sure?
Doesn't matter.
Awkward. Who she prefers. Anyway, it's fine. I don't care about it, and I don't care. I don't know why, but I'm successful. I'm independent. I'm extremely pleased with my life.
Okay, what's the point? Please.
Well, what do I have? We have this small sliver of something, a silent agreement to tolerate each other, and it works. We don't fight. We don't talk much, but we don't fight.
Okay. This is recycled whining. I mean, what have we not heard? Make it work.
You know, it wouldn't be the worst thing, Eve, for you to focus on something other than your career.
Point B, no. I have stuck my hand out so many times. I'm not interested in being told how lovely that is while I'm being slapped in the face. No, no, no. I've done it. I'm not doing it again.
Callie.
No, it's not a viable option.
Oh, this is pathetic. I should have known this was going to be a dead end.
You know you have your own bedroom.
I want my own place. Come on. Why is that so hard to understand? Okay. I want my own kitchen with my own food rotting in the fridge and my own dirty dishes in the sink. And I want to scream bloody murder in the middle of the night for no apparent reason without worrying about disturbing someone.
Okay, well, frankly, I don't know where in the hell you think you can do that anyway. Like,
okay, all right. Listen to me. I especially want to spend hours making love to my girlfriend and then take a shower together and then get dressed and go to mom's for dinner because she loves me and I can do that.
Okay, that's great, but it's not going to happen, okay? I don't fit, and I don't have kids. I'm not whatever the hell it is I was supposed to be. I'm a lawyer, which already marks me. I make savage money, which is unforgivable, and I, God help me, watch television. I'm just one of the ones you and mom sneer at.
No, that's not true.
Oh, and I don't read. I listen to audiobooks. The Downfall of Humanity. That alone is enough to warrant her disdain.
All right, that's it. Time out. Eve, you're being really hard on yourself. Let's just admit it. We can't do this. I can't, you can't, Joni, you can't. Let's just admit that. Let's just be honest. She likes honest. It's okay. There are other options, right? They're professionals. They're nursing homes. They're caretakers, nurses. We just have to be honest with her. We'll just sit her down during this counselor call and tell her what's going on. Right? Now we smoke.
Oh, wait, I have one more point to make.
Not a word.
It's caregivers.
What?
They don't say caretakers anymore. It's caregivers.
Semantics.
No, they say that if you're a caretaker, then you're taking responsibility for the person. But if you're a caregiver, then you're letting the person do as much as they can for themselves.
Oh my, really? Jesus, you can't make this shit up. Do you know how quickly I would be dismissed with a comment like that in court? Total conjecture.
All right. You know what? It says in your stupid tat, the most important thing is to have a safe environment for the Alzheimer's victim to reside. No, I mean, is there another word for victim? I really hate that.
See how my being unhappy serves anybody? Now, if we just for a moment look at this logically, I never said I would take care of mom. If I had promised, okay, all right, that's fair, but I was never even asked.
Well, and that conversation was supposed to happen when? In utero?
Parents, see, they have a choice. Well, I mean, not always, but you do always have a choice whether you want to make love or not. Well, okay, not in the case of rape, but I'm diverging. Okay, listen, this is clear. Parents who want to be parents, our parents, for instance, they decided to raise kids, and I totally appreciate that. But that's a choice. They made a choice to have kids. I, on the other hand, was never asked. Now, I did ask myself if I wanted kids or a husband or anything that might take me away from my career, and my answer was no. That's a choice. I made a choice. They made a choice. Otherwise, it's not my responsibility.
Unless you were asked.
Right, exactly. I never made a choice like that, so I don't have to take care of mom.
And now lightning will strike.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to get struck? Oh my God, you're practically abandoning your mother so you can leave your dirty dishes in the sink.
This is ridiculous. One goddamn tragedy after another.
All right, well, thank you both. Thank you very much. For the first time in my life, I ask for help. I ask for help. One time, one lousy time, but no. All you have to say is tough. No, Joni, not your turn. Not yet. Gotta let the big kids go first. Only the big kids get to do it. Well, you know what, ladies? I am a big kid now with a life and a lover.
Lover? Ugh, God, how dramatic.
Okay, it's my turn to go out and enjoy my life, and it's your turn to stay in and take care of it. Okay, and I don't really appreciate you equating my life to a tragedy, Callie.
I wasn't referring to you, Joan.
Do you know how hard this is? I like Mom. I like her as a person. I like living with her. I actually was all ready to screen share with you some pictures. I had this funny idea that somebody might care, ask me her name or how we met. Silly me.
I'm sorry. What's your name?
It's a little late.
No, it's not. I'm sorry, too. What's your name?
Oh, come on. Don't make me come through this screen and
No,
get out of
forget it. Forget it.
1, 2.
Oh, Gabriella. Get your big bug eyes out of her name is Gabriella.
Gabriella. Sounds like a Spanish whore.
Hey.
Oh,
Where's she from?
she's from France.
C'est très
Close, but not. All right, let's talk about something else.
How long have you known each other? What does she do? Where are you moving to? Then you're done.
No. Then I get one.
No, you don't.
No.
You don't.
Oh, Mom. What happened? Where were you?
Okay.
Mom, where were you? Where is your tea?
Tea? It's not tea. Hold on, girls. I have to. This camera thing, this whole Zoom thing is a little complicated. Hold on. I'll be right there. Okay. There we go. I wasn't making tea. I was making a phone call.
Oh, okay. We thought you just made the tea.
No, I called someone I had to call.
Returned a call? We were waiting for you. Remember that appointment with this woman is coming to talk to us about things.
Well, I'm here now.
Fine.
I'm here now. I'm here now.
All right, Mom. The thing is, all of us have a lot going on in our lives right now. And
Yeah, especially Joni. She has a girlfriend. I mean, like a boyfriend, but it's a girl.
Yes, I know that, Eve. She's very sweet, too.
You knew?
Of course I knew the way the two of you grin at each other. Well, I figured you'd tell me someday.
Mom, all right, so the girls and I have been trying to figure out what might be the next.
I'm moving out, Mom. The big deal is that I'm moving out.
I certainly hope so. I didn't expect you to stay home indefinitely.
Mom, the thing is, we're concerned. All right, well, maybe not concerned.
No, we're not concerned, Mom. We're worried. We're worried what you're going to do if Joni moves out.
When I move out.
In whatever.
I will relish in the solitude, I imagine.
Great.
Okay, girls. What is the problem?
We don't feel comfortable with you living alone.
You don't feel comfortable with me living alone. I think the three of you should do something else. You don't feel comfortable with me living alone. You know, you don't need to be bothered with this. You don't need to worry about it. Unless it is time for the home, I'm really fine.
Mom, we're really concerned.
I've been confused once or twice. I can see how it looks, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't warrant all this fuss. I am really okay.
Mom, you're really not okay.
I am really not okay. I'm sorry. Sometimes things get the better of me. I think the three of you should concentrate on your own lives. Enjoy the color of the sky. Go to a concert. Do not take on my life. I'm sorry I was upset. It is not necessary.
Would you be willing to just say what it is you're saying, minus the color of the sky in the concert? It's not metaphorically, just as clear as can be.
That's funny, Eve, because you haven't. What is it you're saying? You haven't said you don't want me. Is that too much trouble to say? Maybe it is. Maybe it's too much trouble to say you don't want me. You're off the hook, girls. Is that simple enough for you? No one is going to infringe on your precious lives. You won't be put in that awkward position. I'm not going to ask that of you.
So what's your plan then, Mom?
Joni, you know me well. It's really quite simple. Unless it's your idea to drag me off to some aged facility, I'm going to arrange for help around the house a few days a week. Later, when it seems necessary, I will have a nurse or an aide or a string quartet if I want on a regular basis. And then, ta-da! When it gets so that I am not partaking anymore, when I feel more absent in my life than present, I have a little box. Something that's very popular now. What are we going to call them? A darling box of little helpers.
Pills? Mom, you have pills?
Don't be so surprised, Steve. Lots of people have them now. They're very pretty, they're very little, and they're very, very strong. So my dear girls, you have nothing to worry about except your own lives. Now, can I go make my tea now?
No. What are you saying? No.
I'm clear up until the living help. I'm not understanding the pills.
It's not clear enough.
No, it's not.
Joni, can you help me out here?
Yeah, you have pills which you're going to kill yourself with.
Brava! Clear.
Okay. Oh, no. Jesus. Joni, Mom, what do you even know about taking pills?
Taking pills. It's rather self-explanatory, my dear. When I am ready, I swallow. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be sarcastic or ironic, but how difficult can it be? There's a wonderful word. It's called deglutition, the act of swallowing.
Okay, what are you talking about? I mean, when is ready? If you are past the point of having had enough, aren't you past the point of knowing when to take the pills? And what if you're not ready? What if it's just a bad day? What if it's not the end of the world, Mom? What if you forget to take them right? I mean, we're talking memory here, right, Mom? What then? We give them to you? What?
Callie, I know the difference between a bad day and having a bad life. When it gets to the point that I'm no
I
longer...
don't think so. No, I don't think you do, Mom. I don't think you do, because that's murder, and I'm really not interested in that. So I really don't see how that works, Mom. I understand. Sounds great. Sounds great. Great. Take some pills, float away. Sounds great on paper. I don't think so, Mom. No. No, Mom. You don't get to do that, Mom. You don't get to do that.
I knew that this was going to be hard for all of you.
It's not hard. It's crazy. You won't know. Mom, you won't know when to take them.
Please don't make me say this. I love you girls, but if I have to wait until I'm wheeled in front of a television set, it's going to be too late for me, your mother. If I have to wait till one of you cuts my food and has to dress me, for me, that's going to be way too late. And if I have to wait until I am sitting in my own excrement, it's going to be too bloody late. I am sorry of the tears, but the first time I asked myself the question, and I can still ask myself the question, what is the point of my life? What is really the point? And if I don't have an answer, then it won't be too late.
The whole world is wondering what the point is. I wondered about it the minute my eyes opened. There's $1 million industry that worries about the point.
Eve, my request of you is to get your life together as you see fit, because my life has been very, very good, but I am not willing to struggle through the oblivion to reach the end. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the interest, and I'm certainly not willing to put the family through it.
Well, what if we want to go through it? I'm offering. Stay with me. Live with me. I am offering.
Oh, my darling daughter, we are too alike. We would kill each other in a week. Don't be silly, but yes, please. Let's enjoy each other while we have the time without obligation. I take you up on that. You can come to me, I'll go to you, we'll sit with me, but take care of me, no. You're right, I don't want that.
Well, now we're accomplices. Now we're aiding in a murder. No, suicide. This is illegal, right, Eve? What am I supposed to tell the girls?
I'll talk to them.
No, you won't. No, 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 no. You want to control it. I get that. I get that. Go ahead. Don't involve my kids. Plenty of craziness for me. If you go, well, then go, you know? But as far as they're concerned, it's going to be natural, not something you bought at a drugstore.
Now, when you say that, you're right, Callie, of course. You know how to talk to your own children, but perhaps someday you will explain to them. But girls, we're getting very far ahead of ourselves now.
Where do they come from?
The pills? Your father and I had them stashed away when he was sick.
You and Daddy had a suicide pact.
Don't be shocked, Eve. Neither one of us wanted to end up being a burden.
Well, there you go, Mom. Those pills are spoiled. They don't keep. It's a great plan. I guess you did wait too long.
You don't have to get mad, Callie. This isn't against you, and I am quite prepared to obtain some fresh pills.
Okay, Mom, I'm sorry. You can't just walk out on the street and get them.
Oh, you girls really underestimate me. Who do you think I am? I have it under control.
Now you have it under control. But what about later? What about if you have one of your moments? What then?
It's really okay, Callie. I really do know the difference, and I am quite prepared. Joni, help me. Nothing to say. Well, my dearest daughter, you and I have been very lucky. We have had precious time together. The time that you, my sister, your sisters and I have never had yet. You know I'd be infuriated with help, and I am counting on you to understand.
I think you're brave, Mom. Really remarkably brave.
Look at you. I'm not gone yet. As long as I can enjoy a good sunset in the ballet and the symphony and a good cup of tea. May I go make my tea now?
Mom, the lady is about to come. Our appointment time is in less than a minute. Can you just wait?
I will come back. I promise I will come back. I'll just make some tea. I almost offered to make a pot for everybody here. Forget it. Sometimes it really does feel like you're in my office. Well, you are all in my office. My dear girls, I love you all.
Hey, Mom. Oh, God. Hello.
guys.
Hi.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm Eve Dresden. These are my sisters.
Hi, Eve.
Joni.
Joni. And
This is my sister, Callie.
I'm Barbara Coombs-Lee. I'm with an organization called Compassion and Choices. We help people chart their end-of-life journey according to their own values and beliefs. Your mom called our consultation line the other day. She talked about wanting to stay in control. She talked about some problems that she's starting to have. And she asked if I could help her talk with you. She would like very much to have these conversations with you and to share this journey in as open and an honest way that she can. So I'll be at your service.
I don't really understand. Are you going to help her kill herself?
No, but I will help her come up with a plan. And I think maybe the most important thing I'll do, and I hope you'll do too, is to affirm her own fears, affirm that they're okay, and affirm that it's okay for her to come to terms with, no, dying is not the worst thing that could happen to you.
Really?
No,
Public speaking is pretty much
it's not.
the worst thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how your mom feels about it. There are things that are worse. And she would like very much to avoid those things for herself. And with some planning, with some forethought, with some care and collaboration from you, it's possible. It's possible. It's very important, though, for y'all to understand we're not at the end of this journey. We're at the very beginning. There's a lot of information gathering. There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot to talk about, and there'll be a lot of experiences that you'll share before the end. But I think your mom just wants to get off to a good start. She wants to feel as though you're on her side and she can be honest with you about what are the things that are the most important to her as her life draws to a close.
Okay, may I speak, please? Like, we know that mom's very independent. She wants to maintain control, as you said, but how are we supposed to honor that when she gets lost in the car driving home on a path that she has taken, 4 times a week for the last 70 years?
Yeah.
I mean, we need to do something to protect her and other people.
Mm-hmm.
So do we take the keys? What do we do?
Well,
Right there. I was just gonna say that there just feels like this, she wants us to kind of give her space, and I want to respect that, but there's also that concern if I give her too much space. I mean, what if I come home one day,
Well, you won't be living there, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, Eve, come on.
All right.
It's one step at a time.
But we don't want her to leave the pot on and the house to burn down. I mean, these are realistic, practical fears.
I heard that.
Okay.
I'm back.
Mom.
Excuse me. Hello, I am Kiki dressed.
Hi,
in-
Kiki.
and
Hi,
you
Kiki.
are- I've forgotten your name.
My name is Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
And
And you
you're-
have already met my 3 daughters.
I did. We talked a little bit. You and I talked a bit on the phone the other day. You wanted to set up the Zoom call so that we could open a conversation with your daughters about what would be your ideal way to chart your own end-of-life journey. What kind of plans would you like to make? What kind of values and beliefs would you like to share with your daughters? How would you like your daughters to be able to support you?
I think the first thing, because I just walked in on them, I want them not to panic if I just leave a pot on the stove. I am getting older and they will get older. We will all get older. I am from a generation that knew the line, none of us get out of here alive, from the mouth of a rock star. So I am.
Mom, we're not talking about leaving the pot on the stove. We're talking about the fact that you have a box of pills that you're ready to take at any minute when you forget something.
But we have to talk about the other part of it too. I'm not going to get better. I'm going to age, and I am aging with all of you and someone here who can say, yes, you can age. My greatest fear, Barbara, is losing my independence. It's losing my ability to conduct my life. And I want some guidelines from my daughters and myself to say, yes, Mom, you need somebody to check the pot. But for me to lose control is the scariest thing I can do. You can probably tell my daughters bear a little resemblance to me in this area. So where do we start? The question was good. I've left a pot on the stove.
Yes. But this is what is wonderful about your wanting to talk to your daughters. And this is a great gift that you're willing to give them. And if they're willing to accept it, it can really enrich their lives, and that is candor. The willingness for you to admit you're not in denial. You know that your mental capabilities are not as constant and as sharp as they were for your entire life. You also know that these things come and go, that you may be very sharp for several days, and then you might have some confusing days. You'll need to make adjustments, and you'll need to be sure that you're safe. Your daughters need to know that you're safe. So if it means a stage where caregivers come into your home, and help you stay safe, my sense is you're willing to talk about that.
Okay. No, she's not. Mom.
Eve, you don't, she might be. We're just starting this conversation. Like Barbara said, we're at the
All right, girls,
beginning.
girls, please, girls. It's about mom. All right, let's not start up again. What is your question?
I'm thinking. Keep talking. I'm thinking if you would call them an assistant, as
Okay.
opposed to my aide or my whatever, or my nurse,
Yeah.
I would feel much better. If I could have an assistant.
Let's call him or her Barishnikov.
Okay, so
I love Mikhail Baryshnikov.
I think we have the first repeated.
I'll take Mikhail Baryshnikov.
So the first,
I'm divorced.
I think what you're saying is that we need to make sure that mom is also actively part of the process of making her life safe, I guess.
Well, right, there's a lot of work to do. And one of the main things to do is to start thinking about, and Kiki, this is for you to think about too, my life story. You know, my life has meaning because it's a story. And in stories, they have meaning because their endings matter. The end of the story will matter. It will matter very much for you, Kiki, and it will matter very much for you, her daughters. Your mom is going to die. It can make you angry, it can make you scared, it can make you want to go into denial. But that's the way of the world. You know, parents hopefully die before their children do. Sometimes it's helpful to think in advance. I know my mom is going to die. That's going to be the worst thing. It's the worst. What's the least worst? What would be the least worst experience?
Well, wouldn't you killing yourself?
And work back from that. How can I help my mom and us have the end of her life be the least worst experience for all of us?
I realized one of the things I wanted to ask, Callie, do you really want that cigarette? When you all swore.
I put it out. Thank you. I might outlive you after all if I quit smoking.
So,
I want my girls.
Great. I smoke.
I don't want to force my girls to do anything, but I don't want them to force me. And more, you're not fine, Mom. You need this, Mom. Why don't you ask me what I need? And could we start there? What I need, I love your concern. I love your wanting to figure it out, but let's talk about it from the person who it is. It is me. Would you be willing to do that? Because what scares me is all of this. You're getting older and you need to do this and take the pot off of the stove. And I get frightened because you're going to put me in a room with a plate that you hand under the door.
We're not putting you in jail, Mom.
Well, we'll sign a promissory note for that, my dear Eve.
so,
All right.
so Barbara,
Staying in control. You know, maybe having someone in your home, maybe I don't have control over whether I have someone in my home, but I have control over what I call that person and who she is and maybe how often she comes in. That's a kind of control too. Control will change over time. I won't be in control the same way I've always been in control, but I'll still have some control.
So Barbara, our mom wants so much control that she has essentially pills. And so it sounds like she wants to decide for herself. Is that our only option? Is that our only
pills,
option?
Spoiled ones. They're not even any good.
Callie.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. As I said, the conversation has just begun. And Kiki, you told me that you have a preliminary, I'm going to regard it as a very preliminary plan. It might not be a realistic plan. You know, accumulating pills is very rarely a realistic plan. If people get pills that are supposed to be effective on the internet, that's always a fraud. That's just always a fraud. But that's not to say that there aren't ways for you to die in a manner and yes, even at a time that you would choose. You know, there are lots of ways that people can manage their health care. They can stop taking medications. They can stop treatments. They can deactivate cardiac devices like pacemakers and defibrillators. And they can stop eating and drinking. All those things are legal in every jurisdiction. So it's important to think about a legal way to stay in control so that you don't put your daughters in jeopardy and they can be with you all the way to the end. It's kind of a deal we make, you know. Our loved ones can agree not to abandon us and to join us in honoring the things that are most important to us, the things that give our life meaning, and a plan not to live a life that we consider worse than death. They can be on board with that, but we need to be on board with, I won't do anything to jeopardize you. I won't do anything that will put you in legal jeopardy after I'm
Right.
gone.
You are right. Barbara, I know we have a finite amount of time with you for our appointment, and I think it's already up, but as we begin to do this, and thank you so much with meeting with the four of us. I know it's complicated, but where do we go? Where do the four of us go from here?
This is such a common dilemma, a common question that families face. This is a very good segue to open the conversation up to our audience and invite questions. And I'll start by saying that, I wrote a book about this, Finish Strong, how to put your priorities first at the end of life. And Compassion and Choices has many, many tools that are absolutely free, that are planning tools. There are tools to help evaluate dementia and tools that will actually enable you to engage your physician, engage your healthcare providers, and engage your family on a plan that is reasonable, rational, and will honor your wishes to the very end. So I think we want to open the mics and open the chat.
And thank you so much for including us in the conversation now. Anybody who'd like to ask a question, I'm going to call on Vicki and Armin to do that. This is the technical part where I figure out how to unmute them. I don't seem to have that option right now. So Corinne, maybe while I go to a question in the chat, talking is permitted. So Vicki or Armin, you can ask a question. If anyone else has a question on your Zoom screen, on the bottom, there's a little hand icon. You can click that and then I'll see your hand come up.
Well, I don't have, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. I don't have a question as such. I'm just so impressed by the breadth of the conversation and how brilliantly y'all have captured what goes on in families around these issues of end-of-life care. So I'm just was delighted to be invited into the audience with this. And it's interesting that I had just spoken with a woman this afternoon her kids are distant, she's alone, and does not wish to prolong her life any more than necessary when she gets to that point. And what should she do? So it's a question that's on everyone's minds when we get to be women of a certain age. So thank you for addressing this, for attempting not so much answers, but how to go about thinking about it and how to work through the process together. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Devorah, we have a question on the chat.
So the question is from Jonathan. When do you think a healthy person should start preparing for the end of life?
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now. And the way to start preparing is to start to get clarity about what gives my life meaning. What would be some kind of benchmarks for myself that would demarcate the boundary between a quality of life that is still good. Life is still good. I'm here for another day that's still good. And no, if life is never going to get any better than this, it's only going to get worse. I want to know when that boundary is. And to talk about that, I mean, I talk about this with my family so much their eyes roll, you know, when I start to, but you have to be specific. Just saying something like, oh, you know, if I'm ever like that, just shoot me. Just put me on an ice floe. Would you leave me out in the woods in the cold? That is not good enough. That does not help your family help you. It doesn't give them any guideposts, and it doesn't leave them with a realistic plan that would actually honor your wishes.
All right, we have another question from the chat. And Corinne, if you would help me, this is the tech part, if you would help me unmute people on the attendees list. The question is, how do you begin a conversation with someone who's in denial? How do you find people who can capably facilitate this kind of conversation?
Sometimes you have to try a couple times. You know, sometimes you'll just get a pat on the knee and some kind of little patronizing phrase like, oh, Mom, you're going to outlive us all. Don't talk like that. So you just have to be persistent, you know, and say, you know, this is important to me. This is for me. Would you just humor me? At Compassion and Choices, we talk about Thanksgiving dinner as being the perfect time to have these conversations. Everybody's there. We say it's time to talk turkey over the turkey.
That's kind of a downer, don't you think?
Thanksgiving is already hard enough as it is. Eve, you've been to my Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well,
Eve and I have a touchy subject between us. As you know, maybe you know, Eve's an attorney. We're really proud of her. And when it comes to power of attorney, is there something that we need to sign off on to make a decision like this legal? I know you said that doing it is legal, but what about the after effects? Like, is there one person
or just
sign?
even being prepared with power of attorney at all?
We already did papers, guys. The fact that you forgot about them is...
Okay.
I never read them, Eve. I never even read them. I sent them to you. You went to law school.
Yeah. Those papers are important, but they're just the beginning. The most important thing, your mom has already started, and that's getting everybody on board with what her priorities are, her values and beliefs, so that with those principles in mind, if she does lose capacity, you'll have this as a touchstone. You know, Mom said this is the most important thing for her, being able to what? Read a book, have a conversation, recognize her grandchildren, you know, I mean, whatever it might be. You'll all agree on what that is and when that threshold might have been crossed. Then what to do? Well, if your mom has lost capacity, she can give you folks authority to discontinue something that is keeping her alive or to refuse something that might save her life. So if she gets pneumonia or she gets a septic from some kind of infection, and you know she's crossed her threshold, it's perfectly legal, and I would say it would be your duty if you know that she would refuse that treatment that would save her life, prolong her life, then you need to do that on her behalf. So you need consensus among you, you need an understanding among you, and you also need the papers that authorize you to act in her stead. But you know, the papers, if you don't agree, the papers aren't worth anything because physicians will always default to the one member of the family who is in favor of the most aggressive life-prolonging treatment there is, no matter how onerous, no matter how intrusive, no matter how much suffering it might impose on a person who would not want to have that treatment. So that's why I say the most important thing beyond the papers are you. You are the most important things.
I'm going to add something here, because as the actor, I went through this experience with my mother in a very complicated, Mom, why don't you? You have to, you need to. It wasn't until after my mom passed away that I really began the focus on, I need to keep the focus on who is going to go through this and ask them the questions. What do you want? What is your border for your, how do you start the conversation? Once again, I was one of the children who tried to push it on my parent. So trying to ask the questions of, is it going to be reading? What do you consider a good life? You ask the question and just sit and listen. I know now is a very important thing to do, but we all want to fix it. We're still a fixer country.
Yes. One thing that we recommend people do is make a little video. You know, everybody has an iPhone. Sit down, make a video, say, this is the date I just wanted to be as present as I can to all of you. I assume if you're watching this video, you have some decision to make. And I want to tell you what are the most important things in my life. I want to tell you what a life worth living is, and I want to give you permission to abbreviate the absolute duration of my life if the quality of my life has already passed the threshold of what is acceptable to me. Writing it is one thing, conversations that happened in the past are another thing, but there's something very present and immediate about talking into a camera that can be very persuasive and can prevent a lot of suffering.
Barbara, I have a question. Before we get, I mean, not that we won't have these conversations, but coming back a little more to the present where we're at right now. It has been our experience that it's very upsetting to Mom if we bring up something like, Mom, can we talk about driving? Okay. And she will brush us off and say, I'm fine, I don't want to talk about it. And even if I say, well, Mom, Joni said you got lost coming home from Aunt Betty's, she does not, I think she has to be a willing partner and trust us to help her make those decisions. And I don't know if, are you willing to do that too, Mom?
You know, we're sort of at the beginning of the evaluation process. And I think it would help everyone at this stage where the play happens to have a conversation with an Alzheimer's physician, you know, with a medical expert, and take some actual tests and all get on board with how rapidly might this be progressing and what are the stages. One of the tools on the Compassion and Choices website is a little chart of the stages, of the 7 stages of Alzheimer's. It really helps people in the early stages of Alzheimer's to look at that and imagine the course so that they can kind of ground themselves and also anticipate what's up front. And know that there will be transitions. There will be things that I do at stage 3 that I don't do at stage 3 that I can do at stage 2.
And there are markers for that, you're saying,
markers
that I'll know. It's not just leaving the pot on the stove. It's driving, as Eve has just said.
Yeah, there are markers. And it'll begin to be kind of consensus. And Kiki will come on board with, okay, I guess that's where I am. I guess that's where I am.
Interesting.
We're going to take a question that's to Tommy in the audience. Tommy, you want to unmute yourself?
Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering, I don't know if you have the ability to post this information, but maybe you could discuss it. Is there a central comprehensive resource like a website or an 800 number where people, wherever they may be, could turn to that as a resource to connect with professionals like Barbara or whatever they need to deal with a situation like this?
Yes, so there is Compassion and Choices. That's Barbara's organization, and we're going to put that information into the chat. And
Oh.
so you can go to that website, and there's also Bavival.com, and we'll put that in the chat, and that's a death literacy resource. So we'll have both of those for you, Tommy.
Perfect.
When you
Thank
go
you.
to the Compassion and Choices website, then the tab on the top says Plan Your Care. And under that tab, there's a resource center, and then there's something called Tools to Finish Strong. You know, just start clicking away and look at some of these tools. They're downloadable. Some of them are interactive. They're really great tools. They've taken us years to develop. They're user-friendly, and they're absolutely free.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm going to thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy.
I'm going to read one of the questions. Let's see. Oh, there's so many questions. I'm so glad everybody's participating. Couple of questions. Well, how do we purchase your book, Finish Strong? That's Barbara's book. And that you can do on Amazon and on Compassion and Choices. And I highly suggest it.
Any bookstore.
Any bookstore.
Go to any bookstore. Any bookstore can order it.
And then the next second part of this question is the suggestions within any legal conflict with traditional long-term care contracts. Does that make sense to you, Barbara? I don't.
Traditional long-term care contracts. Do you mean like contracts that you would sign when you go into a continuing care community, something like that?
Let's see. The rest of his question is, thank you for this elegant and prescient evening. How lovely. I went through an unplanned end-of-life journey with my uncle and was left with quite a mess to clean up. Everything from property to library books. I'm 64 and on the cusp of purchasing long-term care.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you know, that is a big question, that this idea of, you know, we get left with there can often be a lot left over that needs to be attended to. And how do we deal with that? Because even the best of us have trouble cleaning up our stuff.
You know, long-term care insurance is the care that I want to receive when I'm no longer capable. And when disease is advancing and I'm deteriorating mentally and physically. Even though I have long-term care insurance, or maybe especially if I have long-term care insurance, I need to anticipate the threshold that I may not want to cross so that my insurance doesn't inadvertently keep me in perpetuity in a state that I don't want to be. You know, I just because it's not costing me, just because the insurance company is paying for it, doesn't mean that I'm not suffering because of it. So that's another conversation to have with my loved ones. Yes, I'm going to buy this long-term care policy. It's going to pay for caregivers to come in and help me dress and prepare my food, etc. How far down that road do I want to go? Do I want caregivers to be paid to come in and spoon feed me because I've forgotten how to get food from the plate to my mouth? If I don't want to cross that threshold, then I don't really want to arrange to have caregivers come and do it.
Right.
This is a conversation I have with my husband all the time. No, I don't. It's nice of you to want to do that, but that's not a service that I would care to sign up for.
This is an interesting question. Then we'll go to Karen on the next one. Herb Payne asks, first off, I applaud the creativity and innovation of this production. Thank you, Herb, so much. Barbara, how would this conversation have evolved if it was between fathers and sons? That's interesting.
That is really an interesting question. But, you know, I'd be interested in what the actors think. You know, women are the traditional caregivers. Women are.
She has a girlfriend, right, Eve? You're gonna get teased. You might as well go for it.
My sense is women come more naturally to the reality of the cycles of life.
Yeah,
and coming to
you never
terms.
met, Barbara, you never met the cat.
Oh, not the cat.
I'm really not. I'm
Well,
not.
the cat was a man.
No, I meant my inability as a woman.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
But I think still it would probably be the nuances of the personalities of the men, right? Because men are very, in terms of they could either be really far over here or really far over here in terms of how they treat situations like this,
Yeah.
right?
In my experience, men are more likely to act in secret, and they are more likely to visit, the tragedy of a gun death on their families than women are. We're a gun culture, and it's more likely that a man would be the one, to take matters into their hands and use a gun, and then it would be, of course, the women of the family who would be left to deal with that emotional tragedy and physical.
Why is that? I mean, do men not realize that that is the worst thing that they could do to us or to their families, to their children? That isn't, why do they not think about that?
Oh, it's also the greatest generation, the generation that took care of things.
Right.
It's my responsibility. I'm going to take care. One of the first families, some of the first women, widows I ever worked with, her husband, he took care. He was dying of cancer, and he was so focused on taking care of her. He put everything in order in their house, and they lived way out in the kind of the wilderness in Cedar Willie, Washington. He sharpened all the kitchen knives.
God.
And then he went out in the yard and he shot himself.
Oh my
He
God.
wanted to take care of her, to put her kitchen in order before he made his exit.
Wow, that's another play, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's a great question about the fathers and sons. We need to do that. Karen, I'm asking you to unmute. So
Got you.
there you go. Thank you.
Oh, Karen, that's what your father did.
Hi
There we go.
all.
Oh, wow.
First of all, to the actors, I mean, you just keep breaking the fourth wall here, and it's so spooky to be watching you in character, and then your real selves, and then Barbara, the marvelous Barbara, who's helping all of us get through this. So thank you for joining us, Barbara. The Bible started with the credo, and we live and breathe this every day, which is long before the end, right? And that's what you're talking about, is have these conversations, start the conversation long before the end. But most people aren't proactive, and they have such barriers to entry to get here. In Kiki's situation, she does have a long runway, or seemingly a long runway, and this family has a long runway, and they're doing the right thing here. So one can live with the idea that there is hope, right? Because they're not in that place of desperation. But what happens when you transit from the hope into the hopelessness, right? So there's so many people who are hopeless. How do they get help? What do they do when they're at that time in which everything is in chaos? How do you find hope again, or a helping hand? Complicated question, sorry.
Well, hope changes. I think it's important to be hopeful right up to the end, but what you hope for changes. When you get a terminal diagnosis, you hope it's a big error. Hey, they got the wrong slide under the microscope. And then I hope it's a perfect cure. And then I hope, well, if I'm not cured, at least it's a chronic disease. I have many good years ahead of me. And then, well, okay, I don't. It looks like it's going to be terminal. Well, I hope I don't suffer, at the end. I hope my end of life is peaceful. I'm always hopeful. And my family, my loved ones, hope join me, in that hope. But what I hope for changes. So if I find myself in chaos. And the kind of chaos that I think would be the worst would be if the family never does get to a point where they can have a candid, caring, loving conversation, about it. I think you can still hope to break through. You can break through and have some honesty, have a little bit of time to get through the unfinished business, to get to I love yous, to get to I'm sorry's, to get to please forgive me's.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to read one from the chat from Polly Simpkins, who says, this was just incredible, and thank you to each of you beautiful women. I just went through an identical situation with my father, who died from dementia. I also have 2 sisters, and I was impressed with how you illustrated the roles between the siblings and also the birth order, a huge part of the conversation that happens with a parent who's facing these issues. Could you speak about how siblings can manage the different thresholds of emotions as their relationships shift, how it was so perfectly illustrated here? Thank you, Polly.
That might be a question for you, Devorah. You're the one who
Oh,
created.
right. I wrote the play. Yeah, well, Polly, I think exactly what you experience and what you know for yourself. We all come in with these different abilities for communication, and we sort of can fall into our birth order conversations. And one of the things that we saw, what I really like about doing these collaborations, and these actors have been so generous with me in their time, as we've been watching the evolution of it, you start to see where the miscommunications happen. You start to see where one sister said something and she didn't mean it in a bad way, but it got heard that way because they're so used to having the way that their sibling, the way they always talk about it, the way it always lands. So even though one sister might be actually, supporting the other sister, being kind, it doesn't land that way because we're hearing it through so many filters. So one of the things that's been beautiful to see over the rehearsals, and what I hope to be able to do with this work and getting to play in these kind of collaborations, and I'd love if you'd participate, is to start to tease out the places where we get tangled, the places where we're not actually arguing about the same thing. We're actually closer together than we think we are, but we're so used to, we're so concerned about being too vulnerable or getting too upset that we're not actually coming to the conversations as clearly as we think. So it's, I think that's why it's really helpful to have organizations like what Compassion and Choices does and what Revival does and what we're doing, because it's the idea to help all of us enter into the conversation in a way that's not bringing all the baggage, or that's at least working on the baggage and taking note of the baggage that we already come with. Thank you for asking.
I'd like to say one thing about this, because
Yeah,
I'm moving into actor now. I went through this with 2 parents, and I know Polly Simpkins, who's an extraordinary healer herself, does an amazing amount of work. I found that having done some of the work toward this with a sibling who didn't really have any interest in doing the work around this, it really helps to have done some work. And I have a feeling if there is a member of the family who's willing to get down, do the work they need to do to communicate, that even if everybody else is knocking on each other's brains and saying, stop it, there's one person with some sanity in there who can say, I know everybody's really upset. Could we talk about when mom is not going to be able to drive? At least they can bring it to center. And I must admit, I found it helpful. And Polly, I would love to hear you talk at some point about what you did around your dad's, an extraordinary family. So that's a great question, because I was grateful for having done some of the work around death and dying when it happened. I don't know about my fellow cast members. I know one of the reasons we could do this is it was amazing how we'd all had experience in this area. So we were drawing on, the nodding of the heads. We were drawing on what we knew in life, which was quite an amazing thing to do.
I would like, as the actor, to say that we had the experience of working with Barbara in, like, as we were rehearsing, so we would sort of know what the format and how it would work. And the first time we did it, I got this message that was so clear. And it was basically, get your sibling shit together and think about your parent. And it was so like, oh my God, yeah, that's what we have to do. We have to put our history and our crap and all the whatever it is, we have to put it away. And that's very hard for people to do. And if you don't have siblings who are able to do that, I would imagine, Barbara, that it would be a much more difficult struggle.
Yeah. You know, and it's not for your only for your mom. You need to put that stuff away for your mom, but put that stuff away for you.
Yes.
Because this is a seminal experience. The death of a parent is going to be defining for the rest of your life. How do you want it to be? What do you want that story to be? You're making the story. Do it consciously.
Barbara, I have a question from Nona in the chat, and this is probably going to be the last couple of questions that we'll take, and then we'll wrap it up. If you want the option to stop eating, but you've lost the ability to remember that you made that decision, how can the family make that possible?
Mm-hmm. You need to start where you still have decisional capability, but that doesn't mean that you don't have any dementia at all. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Sometimes, and this has happened several times, a person will make a decision. They'll be decisionally capable enough that it's a valid decision. They'll say, okay, that is my last glass of water. That is my last meal. And then maybe 2 or 3 days into the fast, and by the way, it's stopping drinking that's the important thing, not stopping eating. People die of dehydration and kidney failure. If you only stop eating and you keep drinking, it's going to be a very, very long and difficult process. But then maybe they forget. But if you remind them, you know, not in a forceful way, not in a coercive way, but if they ask for something to drink and you just say, you know, Mom, I'd be happy to get you something to drink, but remember, you had decided to stop eating and drinking because you wanted to abbreviate your life. Do you still want to do that? They'll come back. They'll come back. If they don't come back, well, then yes, you know, you really do have to offer food. And if they take it, you know, so be it. The other decisional point comes when people are really so advanced in their dementia, they have forgotten how to eat and they have forgotten how to swallow. And then it's about mechanical assistance. And that, you know, people, you can refuse feeding tube, you can refuse mechanical feeding assistance in advance, and your family can adhere to that decision.
Barbara, real quick, this will be our last question. It's about, what about people who don't have children, this whole elder orphans, people who are estranged from their families? How do they begin to navigate?
Yeah. You know, people need community and people need a community of support. And sometimes people only find that their community of support when they enter an elder care or a continuing care community. So that's one of the things that is very important. And we actually have little addendum that we recommend that you look at the contract in your continuing care facility and make sure that any legal means for a peaceful death will be allowed in the facility where you are entering, so that you don't find yourself kind of abandoned and facing some kind of institutional barriers at the end. So you can kind of create a community of support in the facility and hopefully, you know, with friends, elders like you.
Well, whew, yay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank all the actors by name, and please, Nikki Patton and Allison Hammond and Deborah Rich Gettleman and Jackie Arend for their extraordinary above and beyond work and commitment to this process. And to me, I'm so grateful. And to Barbara Coombs Lee, Thank you for sharing your wisdom so generously with us and for all the work that you've done over the years, really at the forefront and at the back and in the middle of bringing death out of the closet. And please look for Barbara's book, Finish Strong, putting your priorities first at life's end. And as we mentioned, compassion and choices. And we put it in the chat, and you can just type in compassion and choices into any Google search and it will come up as an extraordinary resource. I mean, you go on there, what they've put on there for resources for end of life care is really, it's a great gift to us. And so much of it is free and available and done in a really good way. So please support their effort. And a big thank you and shout out to Bovival.com, our partner and platform for death literacy and education, and to Pathways Arts Center, and particularly Corinne Tonison for being remarkable, calm, and generous host. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for coming out to the play. I really look forward to continue our collaborations. And if this is interesting to you, the whole idea is interdisciplinary collaboration, so we can find the tools, so we can find the places to enter as we dive more deeply and look for the ways to start having these conversations that we keep at a distance, to bring them closer to us so that we can make the difference, you know, long before we need to, long before the end. So thank you so much.
Hold on, wait. I have to interrupt you because I have to give a round of applause.
Yes.
And a credit to Devorah Medwin,
Right.
who had put together a collaborative unit and wrote this play and brought us in. And many kudos and namaste to you, my dearest friend.
We need
Thank
Zoom
you.
roses for you, Devorah.
Yeah, we need some
Thank
roses.
you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
good to see everybody, and we are ending right at 8:30, so everybody can go watch the convention if they want, or stay on and keep chatting if you want. Whatever works for you, and we will keep you posted because we will be doing this again and again and in many different iterations. And I think at some point with fathers and sons.
Yeah, that was
Sounds
a
really
great
beautiful.
idea.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
And